welcome. And today I wanted to have a little look at this city of Dunedin in New Zealand, or Dunedin, the second largest city on the South Island of New Zealand. In 1848, a Scottish settlement was established by the Lay Association of the Free Church of Scotland. Between 1855 and 1900, many thousands of Scots immigrated to the incorporated city. It became wealthy during a gold rush beginning in 1860. The city population in 2013 was only a mere 120,000. Dunedin is home to the University of Otago, and there's a little look at that. The oldest university established in 1869. So here, just starting off this exploration, the city starts in 1848, and within 20 years, this is just the university. And this city is full of what appear to be much older remnants of a past civilization. They say that the Lieutenant James Cook stood off the coast of Dunedin in 1770, but it wasn't until William Tucker became the first European to settle the area in 1815. Johnny Jones established a farming settlement in 1840, and here's a little look at a monument. Really amazing, just the monument. And the Dunedin Railway Station, built in 1906, famed for its gingerbread architecture, the exact words I used to describe the city in Yemen that I featured in a past video, and really amazing. Without getting too deep, this is another example of a city that sprouts into existence in a mere 50 years, and to this day, only having 120,000 residents doesn't seem to make sense out here on the South Island of New Zealand. And here's a little look at the first church. Just mind-blowing. Everything we would see everywhere else on this plane. And the Fortune Theater, just seeming like a church, clearly mud-flooded and redesignated as a silly theater. And the Dunedin Town Hall, of course. Amazing spire, bunch of antiquitech and domes, and what a fascinating find. This was shared with me in a comment, and here is the Otago Boys School. Pretty ridiculous. Why does a boys' school need to look like a little castle on a small island in New Zealand? And this seeming to have the same ridiculous story as San Francisco, told that a gold rush brings great wealth to a developing city and leads to absolutely glorious architecture. And here's some old photos of Dunedin. Again, the city beginning really in 1850, 1874, completely built out with a beautiful worldly architecture. Here, another little idea. We just have to get a better look at this one. And there's more I want to share, but I encourage you to explore this a little further. This is just mind-blowing in every way. And here the muddy, empty streets, horse and buggy, inheriting this glory. And I mean, just look at these buildings back here. There's no windows in them. And these people could probably build a log cabin at best with the means they have here. Very exciting to have discovered this. And here was the Seacliff Lunatic Asylum In fact, I saved that over here. And this is in Seacliff, New Zealand. It was the largest building in the country, noted for its scale and extravagant architecture. It had a partial collapse, and of course a fire, and just mind-blowing. Again, like the boys' home we just looked at, why must you build an insane asylum in this fashion? Such a proposition alone is insane. And clearly, if they're telling us this was the largest building in the country, of course it had another purpose. And perhaps this was the capital. And all of the surviving residents of the past civilization may have been thrown into this place and serving more as a prison. And here they're telling us the need for a new asylum in the Dunedin area was created by the gold rush. I mean, really, the population being so small at this time period and the need for another mental asylum, as if this wasn't enough. And here we go, the hospital in 1884. Really though, I mean, can any sane person believe that this was a mental hospital? In New Zealand, on the small island. Purely ridiculous. And here is a fascinating photo in 1926. A view of the hospital and a cricket match. Just mind-blowing. And of course a fire in December of 1942. And just very fascinating. Here are some nice color pictures, just to get an idea of the authenticity and permanence of these buildings. And if that's not fascinating enough, nearby there's another city, the city of Oamaru. And very interesting, here we have a Dunedin, and here we have a Maru, or an Oamaru, 80 kilometers south of Timaru, with a population of 13,000 people. So now this is really small. This is in present times. And if I'm correct, I watched a few videos on this, and this is the steampunk capital. This is what they've designated this town as, more of a tourist attraction, but it really seems to have driven the cost of living up. They were saying an average home sells for $250,000. And just a beautiful city. When I first saw this video, I wanted to move to this city. And just a little look. Again, a little 13,000 person town, and you have this amazing old architecture that just makes no sense. And the council building, just beautiful. And again, arriving in the 1850s, establishing his sheep run, and just really not making any sense. In present times, 13,000 people, and yet, let's have a little look at some photos of Oamaru. So here you are, and we could dissect these buildings and their stories all day long, but I don't think we need to. This seems pretty clear and pretty obvious that this town was not built by these people, only inherited, and just beautiful. I really do love this little town, and it seemed like the residents had a good old time, really celebrating their surroundings, whether or not they really know anything about them. And here, another little street view, just beautiful, and I would love to have a little vacation here. And here, a building made of Oamaru stone in the neoclassical style, and just mind-blowing. The weathering and even the what looked like scorch marks perhaps from the prior reset. And here, even these schools in 1883 are these boys' schools, boarding facilities, and really just populating this island. And what purpose to repopulate all these remains of a past civilization? What benefit would there be, one might ask? Well, when you consider the system that we exist in and how we pay at least half of our income between various taxes and cost of living, and most of it not making its way back around to us or any of the people, but just going straight to the top and funding projects that we'll never know about, and even government agencies that take trillions and seemingly do nothing for the people. Then you can see that creating a system and repopulating all of these abandoned cities is very beneficial, and in fact is nothing more than big business, fueling secretive and greater agendas, and really these narratives serving as a tool to justify and facilitate these businesses. And here again we can get a little look at this Oamaru, and you see how people are really celebrating the steampunk capital of the world. And here a little look, no different than what was done in the early 1900s, slapping cheap signs on buildings, and here really done in a recent time period. Still, the building's still not brought back up to restored standards. Busted out windows, and in some of the videos I was watching, they were showing a lot of this steampunk machinery, and just seeming like stuff that was laying around and organized into this museum. And here's some more pictures of this beautiful city, or really town. And if you were to show these pictures to someone, they would think they were in Europe or anywhere else but New Zealand. I'm not sure if here what we see, I wasn't even really looking for this, but very interesting. Round stones, and we can only imagine, but I'm going to try to stay on topic. And a very intricate railway system running all through the small island. I can't imagine in this time period bringing all this machinery over on boat. And here we have the St. Patrick's Basilica in Oamaru. Of course they had to have a St. Patrick's Basilica. Just glorious and absolutely astounding. A very unlikely place and a very fun exploration. And this is only 2 cities that I'm going to feature today, but there are many more, and this definitely changes my perspective on New Zealand. Not what I had in mind, and I hope to explore this in person someday, seeming to be very well preserved, as it is in such an unlikely place. And I thought I was done, but here in 1865 we had the New Zealand exhibition held in Dunedin, visited by 31,000 people. It was the first World's Fair held in New Zealand, and it ran until May of 1865. So here we go. A nice little World's Fair in the mud. I don't even know if they had a population of more than 10,000 people, and yet they had the resources and desire to host a World's Fair and build the same structures here as well in 1889. And I don't know what's more ridiculous, that these people would host a World's Fair with such a small population, or that the controllers would actually tell us such a ridiculous narrative. And here's a little look in 1865 or 1866, they don't even know. The Glasgow Pie House. Oh, of course. The Pie House. Why not? And I really was fascinated by these, what they would tell us would be chimneys. So many of them. Perhaps these were necessary for producing pies. And here again, a look at these chimneys. They seem to be in all the buildings. I've never seen this particular style before. And here what looks like a solar panel. I'm not sure. Maybe just a skylight. But very beautiful. Look at this building behind it. So intricate. And this is just downtown Main Street. This is just a building on Main Street. Here we can see a little more. And a better look at the details on the cornice and the chimney. Very beautiful. And the detail in this little town is nothing short of exceptional. In 1913, a view on Princess Street. Just fascinating. Look at this light post or rail post. Looks like a trolley. 1913. And we have these electric trams. Absolutely mind-blowing. And built out and weathered as could be. And here, in 1864, the Otago Settlers Museum. And this is just a fascinating picture. Look at this mud flood that has turned to stone. Not sure, but clearly seeming to come after, really swallowing the side of this building up. And this is just amazing. 1864. 1869. The unrealized design for the government house. Unrealized being a rendering is what they'll tell us. Simply a rendering, or was this actually here? With all the other buildings we've seen, I have no doubt that this was here. And here a bank in 1874. Doesn't seem like a bank, looks like a very wealthy residence. So, I've always tried to be really low-key about how I say things, perhaps to slip through in case of any purge. And today on this video I got this comment by Alexandra Creator. She says, I got a questionnaire about you and your channel from YouTube. Or did you send it? What I thought about it, should it survive, the agenda, why I subscribed, etc. Odd to say the least, and very interesting. It seems to me as if somebody is suspicious that doesn't quite get it. And what's even stranger is I've been responding to comments, and here let's just show you that the comments are working. And you can see here I'm going to respond, and boom, response. Now this comment that I just read, I just wanted to show you that everything is working except for this. Sent no such thing. And here we go, reply. Comment failed to post. Comment failed to post. Unbelievable. And I've just responded and replied to a bunch. So yeah, it seems I have aroused the suspicion of the Agent Smith. And I think that's it for today. I did want to jump on the Google Earth, but perhaps we'll save that for another time. I thank you so much for joining me today. Do have a blessed day, and please like, comment, and subscribe.